September is real because Sam Darnold was just named by the NFL on Thursday that he was the NFC Offensive Player of the Month for the month of September. Sam Darnold has led the Minnesota Vikings to a 4-0 record. And this is the first time since 2009 the Minnesota Vikings have started with this record. I'm on record a few weeks ago after the Minnesota Vikings defeated the San Francisco 49ers that this feels more Brett Favrean than Case Keenum because of the way the Minnesota Vikings offense was marching up and down the field, the way Sam Darnold was moving the Minnesota Vikings offense efficiently and effectively. Sam Darnold is the only NFL quarterback in the Super Bowl era to open the season with 4 consecutive wins and throw 2+ touchdowns in each of those games. And I am getting all of this from the Vikings.com website. This was written by Lindsey Young, so I can't take credit for the stats that I'm getting. But here is the stats for Sam Darnold through the first 4 weeks of the season. 73 for 106, and he's thrown for 932 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, a passer rating of 118.9, and a completion percentage of 68.9, which is a career high for Sam Darnold. Darnold is in the perfect situation for him to succeed. And again, Vikings.com continues, says, Darnold has excelled against the blitz, going 18 of 20 passing for 335 yards and 4 touchdowns with an NFL maximum passer rating of 158.3. So if teams think that, well, Sam Darnold is doing this because he's got all this protection and he's got the elite wide receivers and you just need to pressure him, frazzle him, get inside his head. Well, so far this season, Sam Darnold has a perfect passer rating against the blitz. And he leads all NFL quarterbacks in touchdown passes this season. So the month of September is as good as it gets for Sam Darnold. Now, the challenge that he's going to be facing is, can he duplicate it? Will he have another month like this month as the season continues, as teams continue to put more pressure on him? Because you could argue that, well, teams just didn't take Sam Darnold seriously. I don't think it's a good argument, but you could argue it. And he had a great month because teams overlooked the Minnesota Vikings. Well, the odds overlooked the Minnesota Vikings for sure. They were only favored to beat the Giants by 1 point. The Niners, Texans, and Packers were all favorites to beat the Vikings. So it's going to be a fascinating watch to see how adversity hits the Minnesota Vikings for the rest of the way. Because now the awards are starting, and now they're 4-0. So it kind of feels like the Minnesota Vikings are going to get the opponent's best matchup from here on out. Because the Minnesota Vikings have made themselves known as a very serious threat. This is the first Player of the Month award the Minnesota Vikings have had since 2022, Justin Jefferson. This is the first quarterback Player of the Month award the Vikings have had since 2019. Kirk Cousins took that award. 2017, Case Keenum had one of those, and Brett Favre in 2009 had one of those as well. I did a take on Sam Darnold during the offseason, and I had this to say. The amount of pressure that is going to be on the Minnesota Vikings offense this year should be less than years before. So I think Sam Darnold is going to shock the world, and he is going to play out of his mind this year, and then the Minnesota Vikings will let him go in free agency, and he'll sign somewhere else next year. We'll see what happens about the free agency and him signing elsewhere next year, because Right now, it seems attractive to all sides to come together and make a 2 to 3 year deal happen, as J.J. McCarthy is going to miss this entire season. I didn't have that knowledge yet when I made that take, but I was definitely right about Sam Darnold shocking the world. Nobody predicted that Sam Darnold at the end of the first month, a quarter way through the season, that he would become the NFC Offensive Player of the Month, that he would lead all quarterbacks in touchdown passes, that he would have a passer rating of 118.9. Sam Darnold is shocking the world. And he receives an award that's he deserves because of the way that he has played the quarterback position this season for the Minnesota Vikings.